out here in the shop, and if you guys remember the old Dunkin' Donuts commercial, yeah, time to make the donuts. Well, it's time to sand the primer. So you can see I've been blocking stuff. You notice the middle of the roof, I never put any high build primer out there. So that's kind of, this will be the final priming, and this thing will be ready for paint on the roof. This area, we got all our body work done, and this is just epoxy primer. I keep talking about it and high build, and well, epoxy is for corrosion protection, so goes over bare metal, keeps it from rusting. It helps the high build primer stick. So the urethane or high build primer that I'm using is not designed to go over bare metals, so we got to use something else. And then in here, I welded this little lip in so that I have some place to attach some kind of interior. I don't know what we're gonna do. Maybe tack strips and shag carpet. Who knows? We'll get there when we get there. But the roof, I stripped, redid the body work, primed it last year. So all the solvent should be evaporated out. Then you can see when I redid the sides, I primed up so high on the roof. So this time we're going to prime the roof and come down with it. And then our rear door, the epoxy on it, I've got it all scuffed up. And yeah, here in a little bit, or a lot of bit, I still have to block that much, like that half of the roof, I guess. And yeah, then we can throw some primer on. Yay! And after I get primer on it this time, I'll probably let the back sit for a month or maybe less, and then block it out and reprime it. That should be the final priming on the back of the car. That door, same deal. And yeah, the actual passenger doors, they are already there. So yay, we can get this thing done at last. Oh. All right, so that's a morning well spent. We got it all sanded. You can see the black coming through my gray here. That means I blocked just about as much as I can cut the high build down before I start going down to bare metal. So I really like to use contrasting colors in those primers when I'm using epoxy, and then spraying high build over the top of it. I have all this epoxy's all scuffed, sanded, took out a few scratches. I fixed this little edge at the top. Yeah, so we're gonna go in and cook, eat lunch. I got to run to the paint store about an hour away, and then I think maybe before I go in, I'll blow this off, get all the dust off of it, and then yeah, either this evening or tomorrow morning, first thing, spray the primer on it. We can put this dude up and let it shrink out, and maybe get our 283 fired up. First start on that dude. So all right, get our old boiler pipe put up in here. We need to presto that out a little bit. Might have to go back with the body some too. This is looking precariously close to hitting. That would be bad if we hit the cow here. There we go. All right. So you can see my lift set up. Pretty straightforward. Good piece of 2-inch pipe here on this arm. Back there, a piece of 2-inch square tubing. Carpet square on this side to keep it from hitting the old body and putting a dent in it. Stack of welding gloves over here. So super straightforward. I'm gonna wrap me a strap around up here. Kind of put some tension on it. Nope, can't do that. I gotta get the whole lift raised up until it touches first. So yeah, let's get it done. All right, guys, so in the last few videos, we've done a lot of fixing engine work, fixing front suspension work, blocking, primer, working on a rear door. Today's the day. We are out here and we are going to mate our chassis up with our body. I kind of got him set up in here. I'm getting ready to do the push the button, lifto, presto, raise it up. And then we got to get our body mounts to stay in place on our frame so that we can set her down on there. I think I've got some rust proofing to do in the very back where I did all that welding. Might talk about that for a minute, but the goal is to get the body on the frame before it gets so stinking hot. All right, so as you can see, got the old lifting strap put on here, threw a Paint Saver 3000 pad in there, multi-use unit. We got things kind of setting down, looks pretty stable. Sure it is, right? And I'm gonna reach around here and hit the old button and lift it up. I think I've got a couple of videos on the old channel doing this a few other times, but hey, this is the first time today. Raise her on up. So here's what all the backside of everything looks like before we do any rust proofing. So got a few little dingle dallies of some MIG wire hanging out, a bunch of gnarly looking weld seams. I went and mixed up some epoxy primer. I'm going to use a DA angle grinder with a twisted little sister on there of a brush, and a roll-lock grinder with 50 grit on it. I want to take and try to polish this turd up, get it where it looks good enough to be able to rust proof it, and send her on down the road, buddy. So that's better. Got all the loose stuff off. I wanted to get all this burn up bed liner off from around the edges of everything so I can make sure my corrosion protection gets in there and sticks good. So the next thing that I like to do is use a metal cleaner, which this is just 244S. It's been around for 30 years. It's a etching solution, got a little bit of acid in it, but it evaporates with alcohol, so it's not going to require rinsing with water and all that stuff. And we're going to use this first, clean all of our metal, and then I'm going to go back with just the normal wax and grease remover, wipe down the whole area, and then we'll go get the epoxy and we'll flood this thing down with epoxy. So May not look a whole lot different on camera, but that stuff does. The 244S leaves just a little bit of a phosphoric coating on there, or phosphate coating, and that helps paint stick to it. Look at that crap. A stinking tick crawling on me. Ah, I hate them. Give him a little bit of fun down here in the old acid. Yeah, get you some of that, boss. So we cleaned it with that. You saw me spray the wax and grease remover on. I'm wearing shorts, and because it's 19 billion degrees and I got some stuff on my legs, it'll be all right. I'm gonna go get a pair of pliers and break that little piece right there off, and then get our epoxy loaded up in the gun. And it's gonna be ugly because we're just gonna spray it back in stuff, run it, whatever, wipe it off the edges. We could even put it on with a brush and maybe better off. Doesn't even show there. There you go. All right, so last clip, you saw us go all Bob Ross on it with a paintbrush. And I like doing that because it does fill in all those little weird spots. You get runs, don't worry about it, guys. It's on the back side. Just make sure you beat the brush out good to clean it up. Now, I've got my primer gun, got the 3M PPS cup on there so we can spray whoop upside down with it. Yeah, you didn't know that, did you? And we're gonna spray just one, maybe two good coats on here, and we're gonna go get lunch. Man, I didn't think this would take so long. I wonder what they're making today at the Taco Hut. All right, well, I'm sorry I forgot to hit the record button again, but as you can see, we're all sealed up. All of the weld seams have been covered with stuff, so that just kind of helps both appearance, and it keeps moisture from laying in those little nooks and crannies and causing things to start to rust. And we're going to be using some Magic Tractor enamel here just to get some black on there. And then I have some Rust-Oleum bed liner spray, and we're gonna put that on just to give us a little thicker coating back here. So there we go, all blacked in and everything. You can tell I put it on there heavy because it's running like who thought it, but you can also tell that that bed liner stuff It ain't got crap on the real thing. This thing is like grainy as it can be, and where I sprayed that stuff, it's just barely got any texture to it at all. So we probably won't be using that stuff again to replicate bed liner. It does look like it could have a rough surface where maybe if you needed some extra grip on something, you could spray it on, but yeah, there we go. So all right, it may be hard for you guys to see, but like the body's going back down on here. We are super close on several of these aspects of things that we've done, but I believe we may just, just barely clear. I've got all the bolts and everything kind of stabbed back in the holes, and I'm just slowly going through. I put some really long bolts in the back of this thing so that it would kind of guide the back of it, and then I'm going to go up to the front, and I'm kind of going to do the same thing up there. I figure if we can get both ends of it started, it's got to meet in the middle. So all right, so you can tell this hitting right here is telling us that we're making a little contact here. That's the only place, and we were doing really good until we weren't. So I'm basically going to come in here and I'm going to cut a weird shaped piece out here. We're going to fold this up inside here. I may just cut this whole piece out, get it to where it fits, and then we'll figure out what we got to do after that. This is, it actually had a big hump here originally, and it fit up to the back of the body for the spare tire to bolt to. And of course, getting rid of that spare tire, and I flattened it all out, cleaned it up, but I didn't change the contour of the very back of this. I probably said 5 times in videos, hey, I'm gonna put the body back on the car and make sure all this stuff fits before I weld anything up. I didn't do it, so. There, I bet you fit now. All right, so I don't know if you can see, but we got clearance now. Clearance. Gonna have to clip the end of the frame rails just barely, and she'll all fit. It's down on the body mounts. So, man, I've got things I've got to do this evening, so I'm just gonna have to leave it where it is. And good morning, guys. Well, I did come back out a little bit later last night, and I found a piece of 3-inch square tubing off in my scrap pile that was like just the right length, and I cut it so that we have a longer flange on the bottom than the top. It is going to reside right there after we get it all cleaned up, fitted, and in there. So that's going to be a fairly short little piece of this video. All right, so I'll bring you guys in. This is kind of our fitting job. You can see huge gap up here, but this is really flimsy, so we'll be able to clamp that down, or I can add a little piece of something in there maybe. I don't know. We'll probably get it clamped down, but we got it fitting in there. So now I got to roll my welder out here and do a little tacky tack on it. And all right, so that is not bad, especially considering what we started out with. I almost thought about putting the body back down and making sure that it fit, but we're fine. Let's weld it up. All right, guys, so it's getting really warm out here, but you can see our piece is all replaced now. I finished it out with the 50 grit. You can tell I did some body work before. It actually cut this whole thing out back when I was doing the chassis to get rid of the spare tire mount and the big hump in there. So now we got a nice straight line, and she's welded in there tight. So I'm gonna have to sweep this up, lay on my back, and do a little overhead welding, and then I can paint this, and it'll be good to go. So I'll bring you guys in when it's completely done, because it's all the same process we've done a million times. All right, there you go, all painted up, and as you can see in the sun, and it's 98 kabillion degrees out here, so it should dry pretty darn fast. I wanted to show you though, I didn't think I had any paint left for this frame. I figured it was bad, but this stuff was still good in the can, and it is a PPG paint line. It is out of their commercial coatings. It's called Techstar ALK 200. It's a, I believe what we would call a alkylate enamel, but you add a hardener to it. This stuff, any place that you go that sells PPG automotive finishes, they should be able to get the ALK 200 for you. And you know, we talk a lot about budget and how inexpensive we can do a job. Well, this stuff's like $40 a gallon, and probably another $40 for the hardener with it. And it does last for quite a while, guys. It looks good. It goes on. You can spray it without a hardener, and man, it dries pretty darn fast for a alkylate enamel. That stuff, I sprayed it just a little bit ago, and yeah, we're going to be able to set the frame or the chassis and the body, get them married together here pretty darn quick. So excellent. Well, there you go, guys. Got the body back on the chassis of the old car. Having a little difficulty getting it rolled over that hump there, but got it all back on there. Bolt holes line up good, everything just like we expected it would. The next task will be to put some doors back on so we can tighten those body mounts down and get everything gapped out nice and pretty. So thanks for watching. Click the subscribe button. We'll catch you on the next one.